Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. This is Daytona 2001 on the Sega Dreamcast. Now this is a kind of a sequel to Daytona. It's the original game, but there's obviously serious graphical improvements over the Sega Saturn version. And also there are more tracks that's been added as well. And I think there's probably a couple of game modes that have been added. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's been a while since I've played Daytona, so I can't really remember. However, this is a fantastic game. Of the Daytonas, this is my favourite one, essentially because it's got the most in it. And I was kind of a little bit surprised when Daytona got a HD makeover and ended up on I think it's on the PlayStation Network and certainly on Xbox Live Marketplace, because that's where I downloaded it from, that they actually use the arcade, the original arcade, which doesn't have as much in it as this one, but never mind. Yep, this is Daytona alright. It took a while for me to get used to it on the analog stick on the Dreamcast. It's kind of a bit weird, Daytona. You have to get the knack of getting the right speed, going into a corner and getting out of a corner, and it always takes quite a few goes for you to be able to master it. Like most Sega racing games, they tend to be pretty unforgiving and quite not phenomenally difficult, but like I say, they tend to be quite unforgiving, and even on the easier difficulty settings, they can present themselves as quite a challenge. I do quite like NASCAR. I'm probably one of those freaky English people who do quite like it. I like the whole speed that goes on. I mean, I know people say, oh, it's just cars going round on a big oval, but it's quite unique when you get into the nitty-gritty of it. You're travelling at exceptionally high speed, very, very close to other cars, often with mere millimetres, and they tend to like to nudge one another as well to let them know that there is an art form to being able to do it. Drafting, certainly, which is essentially where you get into the air of a car in front. Because there's less air resistance, you can essentially slide right up to the car in front, but then you get stuck in some of the turbulent air as well. All of that kind of stuff is sort of really important to the art of being able to overtake. It's not quite the simplistic sport that we'd like to think it is. I mean, there's not the complexity in there that there is in, say, Formula 1 or even IndyCar. I mean, IndyCar race on street circuits and stuff like that. In fact, I'm not too sure if NASCAR do now or not. I don't know. I haven't seen it for a while. I do like it, but it tends to be on at weird times over here, and it tends to be on weird channels as well. It's not always consistently on one channel, so actually getting to watch it becomes a bit of a problem. But anyway, back to Daytona. Yeah, I really like it. There's different cars to choose from. I think this is one of the different tracks that's not in the original Daytona. I'm trying to remember now. I don't recall seeing this one before. Certainly that will account for the fact of my bad driving, is because I'm not familiar with the circuit, and that's something that I'm going to stick by. Yeah, I mean, the thing with these sorts of arcade type racing games is you do have to master each of the circuits. You do have to learn all of the nuances on each of the tracks, the best speeds to get around the corners and so on and so forth, if you want to be successful at it. Certainly when you start ramping the difficulty settings up, you basically need to nail every single part of the track if you want to stand even the remotest chance of winning. I mean, these games can be that fiendishly difficult, but there's something very, very addictive about them, which is why they're often remembered and regarded as well as they are. I kind of like that your opponents make mistakes as well. You know, they'll crash into one another and take each other out and stuff like that. So it does create an air of randomness as well to each of the races. The cars don't seem to follow the sort of on-rails path that they do. Even in some more evolved racing games, the artificial intelligence is locked down that their cars will always make it round a corner, that, you know, they can't knock each other off the track or anything like that. And that does become quite annoying, simply because, you know, I like my racing games to really come over with a sense of a degree of reality. I mean, I don't want it to be 100% accurate to real world racing, but I do like it when the AI cars make mistakes and crash and stuff like that. You know, just in general makes the game more interesting. So yeah, it's I do love the Dreamcast, I have to say. I mean, I waited a while before I actually picked one up off eBay. I was waiting really for the right package to come along, and I managed to get one that was still boxed. It's in excellent condition. It shows no sign of aging. And, you know, it came with quite a few good games as well. And so I'll be doing videos for those at some time. But yeah, I got Daytona. Again, I got this off eBay, and again, it was in pretty good condition. The discs and manual were fine, but I think the one thing the Dreamcast had a problem with was its games, and that was the jewel cases that they used in Europe. When I look at the jewel cases they use in America, they just look to me like they used a standard CD case, which made far more sense. In Europe, they had these double cases, which were like about twice the thickness of a normal CD case, and they have this weird sort of double hinge mechanism on them where both sides open up, and you tend to find the disc in one side and the manual in the other. But it also has the capacity for having two discs in there. Now, I can imagine that there was probably a handful of Dreamcast games that actually use both the discs, but I certainly have got very, very few in my collection so far that use two discs, and it just seems to be a complete and utter pointless waste of time. But the main drawback is these cases are very fragile. This dual hinge that it's got on it seems to be the cause of most of the breakages, and quite often I get them, and it can either have been done in transit, or alternatively it's just natural wear and tear over a period of time. But the hinges tend to be broken on them, which means the plastic case will actually come apart when you try and open it. It's not so much of a problem when they're closed, but it does become quite a problem when you're opening it. And the teeth as well that hold the discs in place, they seem to use a very sort of cheap and nasty system for holding the discs in place, and those teeth too are quite prone to snapping off. And again, it's probably not through mistreatment, it's just the fact that standard wear and tear over a period of time causes this. But yeah, that's pretty much it anyway for this video. Daytona 2001, it's a great game, and if you have a Dreamcast and don't have this, then you really do need to get it. It's awesome. So thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned to my channel for more to come.